This is a continuation. We are laying in our passing positions on the walk cycle. The foot that's skating forward is the foot that needs to get picked up. So on frame 8, pick this foot up. So it creates an arc, and you can see when we had it set, now our curves are starting to show up, and we can take a good look at our curves and see where they're at. Set this to a plain old arc here. It doesn't have to be too high. You can pick the foot up a little on pitch. Make sure you are in parent coordinates or left mouse click with chord assist turned off. In this passing position, let's take this foot. This foot's passing position needs to be flat on the ground. Make sure you're in the animate mode. Zero out the pitch and pitch on the toes as well. Now you notice that the foot is not aligned correctly to our little subdivided template. It's because if you click on Z, you can see that Z is doing a little slope and a little curve on the end. We can just manually move that over. Use the A key, we'll zoom in really good, make sure it's aligned. And then on frame 16, you can go to the spline block and change the curve to be linearly interpolated. So now we have an alignment that works with the subdivision. Whenever we move through the keys, he's going to stay stuck to that subdivision as our template moves. We can do the same thing on the front foot now. The transition between frame 16 and frame 32 should be linear. So on frame 32, change that to linear, and he should stay aligned to that subdivision. If you hit the escape key, you can turn off the rotate manipulator so you can see if it stays aligned, and it does stay aligned. Click into the 3D view, hit the escape key to turn the manipulator back on again, and we have the feet staying glued to the ground. So the left foot picks up. Now the right foot needs to pick up on frame 24. So pick the right foot up, you can pitch it down a little. So on frame 24, we have it on frame 25. Left mouse click, shift that to frame 24. We need to straighten out the other foot so that it doesn't bend. In the motion block, put zeros in to the pitch channels. Use the arrow keys to move up and down the hierarchy. Put zeros into pitch. And the feet stay somewhat glued. There's going to be some interpolation issues, but when we start putting in betweens, they will flatten out. So we have the feet picking up. So we know where the feet are supposed to go. Let's go to perspective view, and you can take a look at our template model now. He stays glued to the ground. Let's take a look at the hips. Let's put our passing positions through the hips as well. And if you need to set keyframes on these now, middle mouse click on frame 8 and on frame 24 to set keyframes. Multi-select the head and the hips. And the reason why our keyframes are highlighting as we pass over them is because of the option that we set underneath keyframe editing, which says edit frame. So the frame we see, the channel will be selected, the keyframe will be selected sitting on that frame. Frame 8. He's providing thrust. He's creating forward movement. He's pushing his body up. Undo that. Turn on multi-edit. Then move up on Y so the head moves as well. Pushing up. And he drops back down, creating more thrust with the other foot, pushing back up. Now as I'm doing this, I have the curve displayed so that I can see the relationship between what the curve is doing, what shape the curve is, and what motion is happening in the 3D view. So he's moving up and down correctly on the hips. Turn off multi-edit. I'm just going to pick the hips only, and we're going to do something with the hips. As he pushes off, he's bearing all of his weight on the right side, which means he needs to center his hips over the right side. Plus, he has this hip joint that acts as a hinge, which tilts it down. He hits down again. He's perfectly stable and symmetrical. Pushes off with the left hip, which the hip joint moves down as a hinge, but he's also pushing his leg over to the other side to balance it out. So between these two, that's what he's doing. For top view, we should have him already looking on one way or the other. You can see that his spine is twisting as well. Go back to the front view. The spine is counter-rotating back down. He hits, counter-rotates back down. Now that's doing a little bit of an S-curve on the spine, which counteracts the motion that we added on the hips, so that the hips could look like they were supporting weight. We hit play again. He's carrying a little bit more of his weight. So as he moves up, the spine needs to spring a little bit. So the spine, on its way down, if this continued indefinitely, on the way down, the spine would actually go up just a little bit because it lags. Copy this to frame 0, and the spine comes down again. So the spine is absorbing some of that through movement. Same thing goes with the hands. Turn on multi-edit. Make sure you're in parent coordinate. Moves up, which means the hands are going to lag down just a little bit. Comes back down, moves up. The hands lag down just a little bit. Okay, let's move on to the tail. The tail. He moves up, the tail lags down. Tail recovers when he hits the ground. He moves up again, the tail lags down. So we hit play here. You can see what he's doing. So far so good. End of the tail here. So as the tail's coming down, he comes back up. We can leave the tail alone for now. The head. The head looks okay, so let's see what this looks like. With our passing positions going in, now we need to start adjusting how things follow through and how masses move around. I'm going to save this scene as. I'm right-clicking on the tab, by the way, to bring up the menu. 05WalkB.